Okay, it looks like the kids have made off with my step stool, so I'm not going to be able to show you the ones at the very top. This is going to be the quick run through. Pretty much I'm just going to kind of show you the shelves and how they're organized, and then over the next couple of days I'll do more detailed videos letting you see the covers or whatever. We'll do a couple of shelves at a time and see how that goes. So to start off, this is the big bookcase that's on the left of my dining room. It is from, these are the bookcases that we built when we first brought the books upstairs from downstairs. Excuse me if I sound rough. I don't really feel well today, but... So the first cubby hole up there, with, I call these bind-ups. They're basically Reader's Digest condensed books. I used to like getting this kind of book because you would pay for one hardback and you would get 3 or 4 stories per book. I don't really like this now because now, I mean, even though I still like anthologies, I really like having the full book with its own cover. If these actually had the original covers also, like in between the stories, then I would probably still be buying a bunch of these, but they don't ever include the original covers. So, speaking of Reader's Digest, these are some of the Reader's Digest. I used to have a subscription. We gave a lot of them to the library, but I kept some. Those are large print mysteries. I had actually gotten those to give to my grandmother, but her Alzheimer's has gotten so bad, I think she'd probably just end up reading the same chapter over and over, to be honest with you. She doesn't really remember tomorrow what she did today, so I don't know how she would be able to read a book. The next 5 sections are Stephen King. I'll just kind of let you see the spines. I'm not going to pull any of them in particular out. I do have 2 copies of Dreamcatcher. Actually, I ended up with like 4 copies of Dreamcatcher. The reason I kept 2 of them on the shelf, one is regular and one is large print of the hardcover in that. So I didn't know which one would be better to keep, so I kept them both. Over here is another Stephen King shelf. I have my swag that Casey Hilton sent me from The Magic of Finkleton over here, or The Return to Finkleton is here. The reason I have it over here instead of with the books is because the books are actually on the other bookcase and down low. If I put that with the books, you wouldn't be able to see them. And I love my coffee mugs, so I just have them up high, and they just happen to be in a Stephen King cubby because that's a little bit higher than my eye level. That's why they're over here. I love Stephen King, all of these, but even if you've ever even thought about writing or whatever, this is an excellent book. I've actually got 2 copies of this. I actually had 3, and I sent one to a friend of mine. If you've ever wondered what it was like to be a writer or wondered what he went through to get published, this is an excellent book. And there's even resources at the back of it for publishing houses and things like that. So this is a very good book. It's not horror whatsoever. It's not like a how-to book, like how to get famous. It's a what Stephen King went through to get famous book. It's excellent. Another Stephen King cubby. Another Stephen King cubby. And then in this cubby, it's Stephen King up to here, and then it's, I guess you'd like to see it. It's Stephen King up to here, and then it's Joe Hill, which is his son. And then I just started purchasing The Walking Dead. I actually just spread these out. I'm going to end up with this whole cubby for The Walking Dead, I think, because there's so many. This cubby is a horror, scary cubby. Ramsey Campbell, excellent. If you don't know who he is, you should check him out. He's really good. He's like the original horror. This is an old book that was written in 1902. I need to get it sealed. That cubby is horror. Thriller. I believe that is also, is that thriller? Might be mystery. I think that's the mystery. Thriller. Love Thomas Harris. Robin Cook, so that would be like medical thrillers. Murder mysteries, thrillers, J.D. Robb, more thrillers. There's some horror and some thrillers. And then on the top, these are books that are waiting for review. Then I've got some Stephen King paperbacks that are either duplicate copies or books that I need to get the hardback for. That's a book waiting for the next book haul. Then I've got my Jim Butcher. It's the first one of his books that I bought. I haven't read it yet. And then a few hardbacks, Sherlock Holmes, Edgar Allan Poe. Grammar. This is a book of poetry I wrote when I was like a sophomore in high school. I think this is just mishmash. I wasn't sure where to put it books. Like there's John Grisham that wouldn't fit over here, and Star Wars. The bottom are books with no covers or books that didn't really fit in any other cubbyhole. Along the top are just some assorted paperbacks that I've picked up over the years, and then these are actually books that I've borrowed and need to be sent back. This shelf is books that I either received as an ARC, received for review, or helped edit. This shelf is writing business books, biographies or nonfiction, assorted, didn't really fit anywhere else. Fantasy, Western, which I go through phases. I really love Westerns, but I've really got to be in the mood to read it. So, non-fiction, I actually call that my voodoo hoodoo shelf. Dick Francis, those are mysteries. Some books I picked up the other day and wasn't sure where to put. And then those are actually the tiebacks for my curtains in my dining room. Vampire books. And then just some other Anne Rice. I just kept them because the big Anne Rice were on this shelf. And then we have YA. More YA. More YA. More YA. And then way up there at the top is Twilight. And Where the Wild Things Are. And then I want to show you the pictures. I've had a couple of people ask me to see the pictures that are on the wall over the bookcases. This is my girl child. These pictures are actually probably 3 or 4 years old, because she doesn't look like a little kid anymore. She looks like a little kid in these pictures. That's probably my favorite picture I've ever taken. Is probably that one right there. But that was on Halloween. And then over here is my boy child, which he has a full-on mustache and beard now. So these are a little bit older. I think he's probably 8 or 9 down here. Yeah, he's probably 8 or 9 in that picture, and I think that was like, I want to say 6th grade. So I think he's fixing to be a junior. So those pictures are a little bit old, but you know, I was trying to pick the pictures to hang on my wall, and so I picked the favorite pictures of my kids, like my favorite one so far. So I do need to update them, I think. I don't know, but I love her fairy ones, and I don't want to take them down, even though, you know, she's not a little baby anymore. They're my favorite. But anyway, sorry to get sidetracked. All along the top, I have middle grade. All along the middle is fantasy, and all along the bottom are non-fiction or reference. So I'll go through and show you the cubbies, and you can see what books I have. Cubby number 1 is Lemony Snicket. 13 Curses, Spiderwick, and Narnia. Inkheart, the Miss Frisbee and the Rats of Nims, probably my favorite book of all time. Aragon and Finkelton, some Neil Gaiman, the Sweep series, Harry Potter, and then on the fantasy shelf there are some illustrated books, I guess you should call them. Alice in Wonderland, which I still haven't opened. The Lord of the Rings. Hildebrandt Brothers did Tolkien. It's illustrations. It's beautiful. Then some more fantasy. The rest is fantasy. Some R.A. Salvatore. I still haven't read any of his books. I actually picked up all of the R.A. Salvatore off of Free Cycle, so I got them all for free. But I didn't know who that was, and my husband pretty well freaked out when I came in with all of them for free, because he was like, "You don't know who that is?" And I was like, "No." But I've never been into D&D, and that's not really the type of story I go for. But apparently he's a good author, so we'll see. I'll get to it eventually. And then on the bottom, the row, it is all like reference books. Those are like creative type books. There's, Adobe's is in there, how to use Flash, stuff like that. And then my nerd books. I love to be able to, I like to be able to take a computer apart and put it back together. So I like the physical building of the PC, but I also like trying to understand how it works. So I have quite a few programming and troubleshooting books. I think it's ridiculous to have to pay somebody $300 to fix your computer when 9 times out of 10 all they're going to do is blow out the air and it'll be fixed. I also like to do my own web design and all that, so I have a lot of coding books. These are like health, nutrition, that type book. Some more medical books. This is an excellent book if you have interest in like natural health and just being more healthy. Andrew he's excellent. He's even got a website. You can get a daily newsletter from him. So I say check him out. He's pretty awesome. And then the last cubby is a photography thing. I am not a photographer. I do not claim to be one. I just do what I can and try to get pictures taken that I can be proud of. So I do have some books on photography. But that's it. That was a quick run through. I'm going to edit this down and try to get it under 10 minutes. Check back in a couple of days. I'll go through the cubbies in more detail. Thanks for watching. See ya. Oh, and before I forget, there's actually some books downstairs too. They haven't changed any. So I'll just link to those videos here. I guess click here and you can check that out. Thanks for watching. See ya.